Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from
your company name here.
Studios in Cape Coral, Florida. It's the What's in Your Head podcast with your hosts Gordon and Don Abernathy.
What's up? OG5. It's fucking Thursday. What's going on, everybody? It's Thursday.
At least it still begins with the T. Hold on. This is what's going on.
It's Thursday. We took Monday off because, well, some of y'all like to do things.
That's Tuesday we took off.
Yeah, Tuesday took off. I didn't. I had Monday, then no show Tuesday. But yes, we are back. We are making up. It's a makeup date. Kind of like when the sales department sells an advertisement, but doesn't run. They got to come in with a makeup date. So we're here. We're making it up. And joining us from the bourbon closet of the Yak Computers, formerly known as Done Forgot Anyhow, What's in Your Head studio, is Gordon in Las Vegas, Nevada. Gordon, how's it going, fella?
Yeah, I figured a little Kentucky bourbon tonight.
I need to turn that microphone down just a smidge.
They were chill. That's about it, man. How you guys doing?
And joining us from the deep, dark depths of the location Gordon forgets about and never wants me to intro the man. He always forgets that Mike's around.
It's the man from across.
Coming out of the swamp in his shorts and bare feet with
you're not even going to give him credit for Crocs?
Nothing but a fishing pole and a crescent wrench. He's the host of the Tackle Your Personal Best podcast, a.k.a. secondary heater installer for the Digital 410 building, Mr. Mike No Use of our last name. What's up, fella?
Hello.
Howdy.
What's up?
I didn't know
gents?
plumbers use crescent wrenches.
It's called...
Of course.
Yeah, that's like the plumber's, Bible.
Oh, to me a crescent wrench is the fixed open-end wrench of a...
No, I thought a crescent wrench is often confused with
right.
the monkey wrench. It's the adjustable one, not vice grips.
Yeah,
The
crescent
adjustable
wrench
one.
is an adjust. It's called an
It's a
adjustable
big old
wrench.
chunk of
I have apparently
cast
been out of the
iron.
field too long, and have gotten into the bourbon a little too early.
I acquired
Oops.
a triple threat set of high quality Flea Masters crescent wrenches from somebody somewhere along the line. They're in my toolbox, and they're heavy, and they're durable, and they do the job. But everybody should have a decent toolbox in their garage if you're over 26. Would you agree, Mike?
I
How about a toolbox
absolutely
on top
agree.
of a toolbox?
Yeah, but that usually comes in your mid to late 30s. I think 20-year-olds, but yes, you definitely, I have a toolbox on top of it. Ooh, I got that beat. When you want a toolbox on top of a toolbox, but you can't afford the second toolbox, but you have a dresser you want to throw away, you just put that in the garage, stack your toolbox on top of that, put your reciprocating saw down on the other end, and you got yourself a redneck tool chest.
But what if you've got a toolbox on top of a toolbox plus a dresser and an IKEA little cubby hole thing on top of the dresser?
And then mounted above that horizontally is your bed box out of your Toyota Tacoma that you bolted in with tap cons because it was too small to fit on your Tundra. And so you bought one off Facebook Marketplace, and now you have a sealable cabinet where only tall people who can reach the double handles on top can crack that bitch open.
And then if you don't have that, you have 3 racks hanging from your ceiling, actually 4, for storage.
I have a $10,000 toolbox from the '80s that I inherited from my father.
Is that like a snap-on, or is that?
It is a Snap-on.
That's a gift and a curse.
It
Ooh, that's a
is.
good topic. Here's one out of the box with your head style. What is a cursed inheritance and or gift that you got? And I'll start. My grandmother had a sweet-ass china set. Table,
Mm-hmm.
chairs,
Mm-hmm.
what some people referred to as a bar. But no, it was isn't that called a Davenport?
We called it a buffet.
Yeah, a buffet. And
You
it was
would set up your buffet on top of the buffet.
It was cherry. It was super. It was nice. Came with a 1/2-inch padding from the 1940s on it, probably maybe 32. And my dad had.
You think it was that old?
It was pretty damn old. Yeah, late 40s, early 50s at the newest, I would say. Because keep in mind, this is back in 1993, so at that point it was already 30 years old. And my dad had it, and then when he moved to Texas, I acquired it. Now, I acquired it as an 18-year-old who tends to bounce around from home to home. So trying to find a place for that, it was a gift that I inherited it, and it was cool to have because it had always been around us while we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
But no one's stable at 21. So luckily I donated it to my cousins who was married and had a house. But that's one of those gifts. It's a curse. It's like, oh my gosh, I want this thing's cool, like your 30,000 ton roll around snap-on melt toolbox.
Do
but
they still have it? That's the question.
I don't know. Someone will have to ask them.
I'm going to have to step away for a minute. I got to let the dogs upstairs because they're screaming and I can't deal with it right now.
Is that what you guys call it
But
nowadays?
I do got something I do want to show you that came from a grandparent. Let's see if you recognize it.
Okay.
Hold on, Zoe.
But go ahead, Mike. What was your...
I do have another item that is a gift and yet a curse. I have a rolling tea cart that was handcrafted in Italy. It was my grandmother's.
Mm-hmm.
She kept it in the corner between the love seat and the sofa.
Mm-hmm.
she
Back
put
when
all the
people would come home and they would want... It's basically the 1930s, maybe 20s, 30s equivalent of us, you know, liking to come home and just chill out and watch Netflix.
Yeah.
They would come home and have a martini, a Camel, and listen to the
Yeah.
radio. And so
Yeah.
every house had either a tea cart or the remember the ashtray on a pedestal that was
Yeah.
about the height of the arm of your grandfather's recliner, so that he did not have to move his hand more than, I don't know, 6.5 inches to the right. To
A few
flick
inches,
a,
yeah.
flick
right
a
there,
butt,
Flick it. Yep.
and then just lift it up to his mouth. And these cats
Oh,
are old
that-
school. These cats seen World War II. They seen Korea, so they can sit there for 15 minutes with that butt just hanging out of their mouth, and then occasionally just pull that out.
That tea cart is actually, it's a curse because my sister wants it, and it was gifted to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, a tea cart. I use it as a booze cart now.
Exactly.
I keep my wines and my bourbons and stuff like that on
Now,
it,
when
and
you
my-
come
my
home from a-
glasses and whatnot.
When you come home from a long day of sitting at a podcaster's house waiting 8.5 hours for his water heater to empty out so you can change the coil for the second time. When you come home from that long, hard day, does the fiancée, does she have the ice bucket there, topped off with a nice bottle of the ingredients in which you need to make your preferably?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we were sold a bill of goods.
Recognize this?
Yeah, that's very, very cool. That
Looks like a knife.
That'll segue into my next topic that I just thought of. But that particular knife, there's about a range of 3 to 4 years in which our grandparents got us pocket knives every year for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Get
My-
it open.
Dad went to Europe, brought home Swiss Army knives from Switzerland.
A Victorinox.
And it being the late 80s, early 90s, how a father would sit down with his young boys and discuss with them the dangers of such a sharp utensil that came with many O-blades, tweezers, and a plastic toothpick, might I add. He proceeded to unbox one of said knives and ran the blade down his arm at the right angle just to shave all the hair off his arm. And he looked at us
Look
and he
how
said,
sharp it is.
"Look how sharp it is. If it can do that to this, don't fuck around." Handed us our knives, and we moseyed off. Now, Mike has the same style of knife. Now, I don't know by the 80s and 90s
This
if
one's
they were
a
still
case.
bone, but they have the appearance of being bone.
Mm-hmm.
And just to go to show you guys that we don't communicate prior to the show, if I were to walk 20 feet that way, but I would have to leave and grab my airborne uniform, I actually found a knife that looks exactly like that was issued during World War II. And in the airborne, like when you're watching Band of Brothers and I got the M42s on, when you unzip that, there is a second pouch in the zipper column at the very top on the left. There's another zipper, and you unzipper that, and there's a knife stashed in there. It's that exact style knife, but it was issued to the United States Army, and I could have pulled that one out. He keeps walking off, but
We
so,
continue.
So are you going to sell her the
Am I gonna
cart?
what?
Are you going
The
to
cart?
Yes. You were
No.
saying you were... Now, is that going to be an area of contention between you guys at some point? Or are there going to be passive-aggressive comments handed across the turkey table
There's
at
always
Thanksgiving?
passive aggressive comments.
Probably. It's one of those things where, it's.
Now, can we...
I can't go too much into detail with it, but I can say that she definitely wants it, and her knowing that I have it.
Are you the elder sibling?
No,
Ooh.
Hold on, I just walked into the middle of the conversation because I went to look for something to open this, and
it's
Okay.
my
I
didn't know-
sister. Don't worry
Okay.
about it. It's my sister.
sounded a little weird. Sorry.
Lost my train of thought. Anyhow, so Gordon was presenting his pocket knife. And I was actually talking to young Josh at work about this the other day because when he moved here from California, he proceeded to acquire as many knives that he could not legally carry and or own while living in the wonderful state of the People's Republic of California. And one of the first gifts he got from his father was a K-17 K-bar.
There you go.
And I have a K-bar. I have the same K-bar, but also have a K-bar branded butterfly knife, pocket knife, folder. Not a butterfly, but a folder. And occasionally I pull it out of my bag to eat a leftover pork chop while eating lunch at work. Because, what better to cut into flesh than a K-bar? And he tends to carry a butterfly knife on him. And I've had this conversation with other people because he's a young cat. He's like 19. I'm trying to school him on the ways of the world. He's already got a step ahead because his dad didn't, allow for game consoles and too much internet in their lives because his dad was a internet security guy. He knew all what the hell's going on out there in the world. And so he's kind of got a step ahead of everybody else in that direction. But anyhow, I was talking to him. I said, you can really tell how a dude grew up and where he grew up by his ability to open and or close any random pocket knife that he comes across.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they grew up with knives, they aren't hesitant by them. They open them. How do you close this thing? No. But you get that cat trying to close it. You can that's all you need to know about somebody. You can definitely tell as a dude what kind of upbringing they had. And the cats who are afraid of the knives kind of scare me. Those are the ones I'm worried about.
Another name for the butterfly knife?
A stab 'em knife.
A balisong?
Yeah, that's right. You were saying, Mike?
I had a bunch of knives when I was growing up. I don't know. I don't even remember where I got my first knife at, but I had all kinds of pocket knives, and I had them all stashed in a box.
In a box.
And the knockoff Rambo knife.
I remember
Got that at the Richwood Flea Market. Go ahead, Mike.
I remember the palm width law.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got caught with a pocket knife one time by wonderful Lee County Sheriff.
Whoops. Did you tell him you're going fishing?
And it was just barely.
Good thing you broke the tip off 2 days earlier.
Well, whose palm does it got to be?
That's my question.
Width of?
Because,
I've got monkey paws.
well, they say a man's hand. Well, in that case, I choose the hand of one Shaquille O'Neal. I carry a goddamn sigh around and it would still be under the width of his hand.
No, you know who I choose?
Who's that?
The fucking arm wrestler guy. That guy that just pumps.
Oh,
have you seen that guy?
I've seen those type of guys. I've seen
What
over
about
the
guy on
top.
TikTok what about the guy on TikTok with the really weird big hands?
That's the guy.
Is that the guy?
That's the guy. He sits there and he does this type of stuff all day long. And he crunches his hands and he's got
So that
all
wasn't
kinds
a
of-
birth defect. That's something he
No,
cultivated.
he's been doing that since he was like 12 years
About
old.
12 and he discovered
And
things
he's-
downtown.
I thought he was like a concrete worker.
His forearms are like literally like this big.
He's got
And
Popeye
his
syndrome.
his hands are the size of like.
Mitts.
I think he can literally hold a basketball, and cover a good portion of it.
Yeah,
with just
the
one hand.
size of a catcher's mitt or a baseball mitt. There you
Mhm.
go.
Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
palm the damn thing.
Interesting.
Yep.
Gordon, you didn't get a chance to submit your input into the piece of item or items you were inherited that was a blessing but a curse.
Blessing or a curse? Blessing but a curse. Ah, yes. from the same grandmother a bed, also cherry wood. Nice bed. The curse is that the frame was flimsy underneath. So I'd have to prop up the box springs with patio stones that we had laying around. Glad to have the bed, but it took a little extra work.
That'll do wonders on the carpet and or hardwood floor.
Yes. Hey, any port in a storm.
This is off topic, but I just had a flashback. You had that mattress that you moved like 6 or 7 times. I think it had been on
Off
the top
off
of your
the same bed.
top of your truck so many times that at that point had a taco folded.
Yep. It was actually on the top of a car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a rabbit.
No,
Speaking of
not
like
a rabbit.
speaking of like antique
Fox.
stuff that like you inherit from grandparents and stuff like that. I have my great grandmother's dresser that my son actually uses now. And it doesn't have like cuts or nicks or anything like that. It's been very well taken care of over the last. God, that thing's got to be.
As old as that gumball machine I'm seeing
It's got to
downstairs.
be either as old as my father or older than my father. So 60 or 70 years old, and it still holds up and works just fine.
I was given by a listener who couldn't sell it when his grandmother was moving. And it's a massive thing. It's a pain in the ass. Anyhow, over here in the corner, I got a 1937. Oh, I forget what the hell brand it is. It's a radio console from the 30s. I would love to get the thing working, but the cords all insulated fell off. And I bought an error correct cord, but then when I turned around, I found the cord is hardwired into the tubes. And there's a whole process. So anyhow, it's not getting fixed anytime soon. Back in the day, I've seen
Back in the day.
I've seen just about every single episode of American Pickers prior to them firing Frank. I haven't watched it since. And so
Was he your dude?
no, it's just I don't know. I'm weird like
Just
that.
changed the dynamic of the show.
Well, not only that, but they kind of did him dirty. But anyhow,
Dirty.
I got really good at knowing the price of things. I got to the point where I could like guess the price before they would start their dickering over it, and that came
But you always got a dicker.
handy in real life. So every once in a while, I used to walk through the yard sale aisles at the Flea Masters. Got this huge flea market down here. The yard sale aisle hasn't been doing that well, or the temporary aisles. But every once in a while, you'll come across something. This is not, in fact, a gumball dispenser. This is a Miller High Life peanut dispenser display that used to be at bars, and it's all wood. I think I paid like $15 for this fucking thing, and it's worth probably about 70 on eBay. But I got a lot of cool antiques around here because I just used to watch all those shows and see stuff.
Shelled peanuts or whole peanuts?
Whatever your flavor.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just got a little pull-out handle. There's nothing mechanical about it. I think it's from the, it's I don't know. It's rudimentary. It's literally just a pull-out tray with a dowel in it. Something you'd make in wood shop if you had the skill. And there's just a little hole in the. That's actually a hole. So what it'll do is it'll grab the peanut and then just drop it into your hand. So it's pretty cool. Never used it though. I think it still has some peanut dust in it.
Outstanding.
Day 2 at the dog park. Speaking of dogs, what's up, doggy dog? Is that Oliver?
This is Zoe.
Oh, Zoe. Yeah.
She's gotten a lot bigger, but look how skinny she is.
Yeah.
She actually had to get an emergency haircut because we kind of fucked it up. So she's all the way down.
Whether it's your dog or your wife, pay for it once, do it the first time. I'm gonna dye
No.
my hair. No.
Speaking of that,
Uh-huh.
another thing that was a curse and a blessing was our haircuts as children.
Yeah, I mean children.
The bowl cuts.
Yeah, I mean they're just poor Irish farm boy haircuts, but is what it was.
Amish.
Eh, barn raising. So something magical happened yesterday. I wish I had
Magical.
I wish I
Did the
had
stars
some,
align? Did the planets align?
I wish I had some like deep forests music, like a brook going through, sound of a dragonfly.
A babbling brook.
As I tell the tale of the beautiful thing that happened yesterday, out of misery came some beauty. So I got home from work yesterday, and for one reason or another, Carrie and I decided we don't want to be in this goddamn house. We got to get the fuck
One
out.
reason, get it.
For one reason or another, we got to RUNOFT. And so I said, let's either go fishing or take the dog somewhere. She opted for the latter. I was a little, disappointed. We only had like 2 hours to kill. So
I mean, how much fishing could a man do?
yeah, lately, not much. So we put on the action vest onto Bailey and Jasper. People love that goddamn action vest. They get comments on them anywhere they go. And we hopped into the car, and last summer we took Bailey to the dog park one day, but there was nobody there, and it was hotter than shit. And in the little dog area, there's no big, beautiful tree to sit under like the big dogs have. See where your loyalties lie there.
Fuckers.
And so we went
You mean
there.
they don't like rotate, like they don't got big dog and small dog areas, they rotate in and out?
No, because the small dog area is smaller than the large dog area. You'd be taking.
See?
They have littler legs, so they need less. You know, kind of like if you're going to buy a horse, you need like an acre per horse. I think if you buy a Shetland pony, you probably need half an acre per horse.
Well, we no longer go to the dog park, and I know you'll continue your story here in a second, but Desert Breeze has 3 dog areas. One's not used. They rotate them all. They start with the small dogs first because the big dogs will beat the shit out of the grass. Then for about a month, the small dogs get this area. Then it rotates. The big dogs go into where the small dogs were, and then the small dogs go into what was just closed for a month. Kind of cool.
Yeah, we get enough rain down here that we don't have to worry about the crop rotation, but I get it. It definitely makes sense. So we were there yesterday, and we pulled up. And there was like a little basset hound running around. He's nice and cute. And a little white fluffy thing, and another little yappy dog. We come in there with Jasper and Bailey. Now, at this point, this is only Bailey's second time at the dog park. First time no one was there, and this is Jasper's first time, at least with us. Don't know. I don't know what happened before us. And
I bet there was no dog park.
well, I think he had the run of the neighborhood. I think he was a free range dog pretty much. I'm surprised he never got stolen.
Yep.
But so we get there. And we see 2 little Frenchies, and they're like, ooh, sweet. We got our Bostons. They got their Frenchies. We'll have a Frenchie Boston fucking dog
Tea party.
Yay. And I had Bailey's ball in the trunk, but I didn't want to
Sounds
get
like
it
a
out.
bunch of 500-pound men fucking trying to run around, probably.
So here come the Frenchies are waiting at the gate. They're super excited. Their butts are wiggling. Bailey and Jasper trying to get in. They, dog parks have that 2-way locking system, kind of like a key or lock it.
Kind of like a man trap.
Yeah, way a dog don't get out. And so they're waiting for Bailey and Jasper to come inside. They're super excited. And so they hung out. We played for them for like a half hour. Then they bounced. Oh, that sucks. Bye. And then the basset hound left. Bye. And it was just us and the Chihuahua.
A noisy squirrel.
Chihuahuas are cool if you're the owner of the Chihuahua. But for everybody else, your dog sucks.
Yeah, but doesn't that now make the owner uncool?
They just shake and dribble, shake and dribble.
And sometimes get angry.
But this one was cool. This one was running around with the dogs, and everything was cool.
Please tell me its name was Ren.
Dog car pulls up.
Nothing.
Lady gets out, and she comes in with a 4-month-old Frenchie, cutest little goddamn dog. His name is the name of my cousin's new Frenchie, which I've drawn a blank on, so we won't get hung up on that.
Not Pierre.
No, Pierre was the first one. Remy. This is Remy, like Remington.
Mm-hmm.
Lady shows up with little Remy and Bailey and Jasper meeting it and hanging out, and he's running after them. By this point, I get Bailey's ball out of the truck. Actually, before Remy showed up, I got Bailey's ball. So it was just a Chihuahua and them. I got Bailey's ball out of the trunk, and she was chasing around. You guys see the video on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, yada, yada, yada. But Remy comes, and he's trying to bump the ball, and it's the cutest damn thing. And we're having a grand old time. And then the car pulls up. And now the car comes out 5. First, I thought it was 2. Got excited, like, oh, 2 bebops, 2 Boston Terriers, little brown Boston Terriers. And I saw another one. I was, oh, 3 Boston. Oh, another guy showed up with 5, 3 brown and 2 brindle Boston Terriers. And it was
a whole litter, basically.
Goddamn Boston Terrier, whatever the hell Jasper is, and the little Frenchie party. And they were just running around, hanging out, having a good old time. About 20, 30 minutes later, a cat shows up with 5 French bulldogs. And so if you're a fan of French bulldogs or Bostons, this was the fucking place you wanted to be at North Fort Myers on a fucking Wednesday. This
So it sounds
place
like
was
fat
fucking
camp.
happening. And sadly, one of the Frenchies was an asshole, so he had to stay on his leash. But that's when the
Yeah, you always have that one
mm-hmm.
fucking cartman over there.
But anyhow, the fucking dogs loved it. I loved it. It was cool. We hung out for a while and left, and then we went back tonight. Jasper got into the game, so the video's up now. Jasper has come off the bench, and now he's basically trying to steal the ball from Bailey now, so that's fun. And you can see that video. But I strongly suggest if you have a dog, go to the dog park.
I can't go to the dog park with my dog.
Why not? You act like you're the only one who has a pit bull.
My dog's an asshole.
Well, that's a whole other story.
We used to go to a dog park until our dog got injured.
Your brother-in-law's an asshole, but you take him to the bar, don't you?
No, I mean, my dog, he's an asshole when it comes to other
He's
dogs.
an asshole. He's an asshole. Oh, to you.
When it comes to people, like
He's an
he'll
asshole.
growl at first, like he's like, "What's going on? Who's here?"
Mm-hmm.
And then once he sees, like, if he recognizes you, he's like, "Oh, okay, what's up?"
Ever
And
since,
then he turns into the laziest piece of shit.
well, my
He
dogs are
just
lazy.
lays around.
Bailey's down here snoring, but ever since the hurricane, she's got PTSD. Anytime she hears a sound now, she's barking. And then Jasper is a
Yeah.
good. So they'll both be dead asleep, and they'll hear noise. I'll tell you what, no one's breaking into this house when anybody's home. These two will fucking wake me up in a heartbeat. They're on it.
This one's my noisy one right here. Any noise, any bump in the night,
Bump.
Yeah.
any loud exhaust. Shake a
Vader,
lot.
Vader stays with my mother.
Vader?
and, yeah, that's my dog.
Vader or Mater?
Vader, the V. He stays with my mother, and he's her guard dog.
Is he a white
And
dog?
No, he's Brindle. And
That's a fancy name for brown swirl.
yeah, and yeah, he's
I was hoping you'd say black, but
no, he's 8 years old now, so
Oh, him's just a puppy.
He's getting up there, but he's like, "Ooh." And then he goes and fucks off in the corner somewhere.
Gordon, you called me the other day and you said, "Hey man, I've been listening to Trick Turner. I forgot how good they were."
hmm I don't know about their second album, but their first album for sure.
That's all you listen. That's all you need. One album's enough. And it's fun to go back every once in a while, especially if you're getting older like us and you're sitting in an office environment, getting tired of listening to the same 38 songs on random on Spotify and Pandora, skipping between the two and this, that, and everything. We're going to start a new segment, a brief segment, but a segment nonetheless on the show called Go Back and Listen To. And this week, my suggestion, maybe Gordon will do next week, we'll have Mike do the following week. My suggestion for this episode is Go Back and Listen To House of Pain's second album. Same as it ever was.
Same as it is.
That's a fantastic goddamn album. Go back and listen to it. If you have never listened to it, go listen to it. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify. If you want to know what like Midwest
Amazon
90s was like, we weren't rolling around listening to the shit that was on the radio.
Nope.
We were playing whatever
Still
we
don't.
came across and found. And everybody knows I have House of Pain because of Jump Around. But that first album was good in and of itself. But I was a true and still am. I mean, I had 2 or 3 of his solo albums of Everlast, but House of Pain, same as it ever was, is a great album. And if you never heard it, I strongly suggest you go out and get it. Or download it or go, you know what I mean. Go find it and play it. Great album.
I'll segue into another album.
Okay.
Same artist is on it. The Judgment Night movie soundtrack.
It's funny you say that because their collaborative song with Helmet came on. I was listening to today. Are you familiar with that soundtrack, Mike?
I am not. No.
It's got a little House of Pain in it. It's got a little Cypress Hill.
I'm not going to say it was groundbreaking per se, but it was definitely first in the train of crossover projects. You know, you already had Anthrax and Public Enemy. You already had Run DMC and Aerosmith. You already had Faith No More song that had quote-unquote rapping in it. But
You want it. Yeah.
for the soundtrack of Judgment Night, they got a alternative punk or rock group and a hip hop group, rap group, mixed them together, and it made
Kind of like grunge and rap.
So you had Biohazard and Onyx, House of Pain with Cypress Hill. Sonic Youth was with, who was Sonic Youth with? Pull it up on your computer if you can. I can't remember who Sonic Youth. I can't remember who Sonic Youth was with, but that was that's a good album too, especially if
What's
you.
the album called?
Judgment Night soundtrack.
Oh, there went my camera again.
Yep. Oh, we lost video, Mike. Just don't worry about stay there. I'd rather have your audio than your video anyhow.
That's fine.
All right, Judgment Night soundtrack.
Give me one of
came
the
out-
give me one of the two artists, and I'll tell you who they teamed up with. We'll make a game.
Sonic Youth.
Well, that's not fair because that's the one I sent you to the website. But as we do the other ones, we'll see how many I get right.
Okay. Therapy?
Sonic Youth was Therapy.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you said so. You had Fatal and Therapy, Sonic Youth and Cypress Hill,
Okay.
Living Color and Run DMC,
Okay.
Mudhoney and Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Interesting.
This one I didn't realize. Dinosaur Jr. and Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Ooh, I'll have to go back and listen to that one because I liked Dell later on. And who was House of Pain
Teenage
with?
Fan Club and De La Soul, who unfortunately lost a artist recently.
Oh, that sucks.
Onyx and Biohazard.
Yeah, I got that one right.
Faith No More and Booyah Tribe.
Can't blame me for
But
not
you know
remembering
what?
that
I
one.
don't think. Oh, here we go. Helmet and
House of Pain.
House of Pain, Pearl Jam and Cypress Hill,
Yep.
and probably the best, Ice-T and Slayer.
Was that prior? Was that before or after Body Count? Because if that was after Body Count, that's kind
I
of
think
cheating.
I was in Kentucky at the time. I think it's 93. Yeah, 1993. Just Another Victim, released in August 17th, 1993. And then they all kind of came out separately
Yeah, they released them as
as singles,
Mhm.
and then they kind of put it together. But yeah, it was a really good one. And the movie,
you had Everlast, Emilio Estevez. I think was probably getting close to being one of his last major vehicles. Cuba Gooding Jr. And then the guy who played in the guy with the ponytail, who was like the bad guy sidekick in a lot of movies, he was in it. And then a few,
Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven was like the leader of the bad guy gang. This was PCU gone bad.
So they're basically a group of friends on a run from a drug gang of dealers led by one.
Jeremy
Smoked a
Piven.
lot of cigarettes.
Oh, Dennis Leary.
Ranted. Yes.
Yep.
Dennis Leary.
So the plot line was
Now you gotta go back and see the movie.
a
Again.
group of college friends. They're like in their early 30s now. They're wanting to relive the college days. And they decide to go on a road trip. And on their way into the mountains, they break down, but not in a country environment. I just realized this. This is basically Deliverance in the City.
mixed with Road Trip.
So instead
trip
of
came
getting
later.
lost on a river in the woods, they're on their way to the river in the woods, and their car breaks down in like the worst shithole-ridden city. What city was that supposed to be in? Was it imaginary area? Chicago. And mishaps and shenanigans ensue.
Mm-hmm.
You still there, Mike?
Oh, I'm here.
I can see your avatar.
No glitch there.
No glitch there, no glitch there.
So now I need to go back and see the movie. Too.
Yes, so I strongly suggest that movie and that soundtrack.
There you go.
And now it's time for the What's in Your Head podcast, East Palestine, Ohio train derailment update.
Toxic waste and chemicals, they have strange effects on the animals in my neighborhood, and some get a lot bigger, like the giant rat that jumped on my back.
So if you've been living under a rock,
Jeez, that's what ICP's doing these days?
if you've been living under a rock, yeah, we hired them for our production crew.
But they're slumming it. Or was that Twisted? Yeah, it sounded like a mix between the two.
Oh, he doesn't know. We interrupted this segment of the What's in Your Head podcast to bring Gordon up to date on Psychopathic Records, the music record label that was. I stopped listening to ICP and Twisted for a while, and then I started revisiting it. And sometime between the time I stopped listening and time since I got reintroduced, there was like a falling out, and all the artists went over to Twisted record label, and ICP has like one artist now, so like their label basically died because they shit on too many people. It's really quite
Yeah,
sad, but it's
But yet
It's
Eminem can still pull it off, right?
It's ICP and like this rapper called Light, I think, or something.
basically,
like
from what I
LYTE.
understand, one of their record signees, some young up and comer, quote unquote, that I've never heard of, who was on Psychopathic Records, knocked
Young
up
Wicked.
Jump Steady's daughter, which is Violent J's niece, and he got butthurt, and basically that caused the whole thing to fall apart. And so
Now, are
everybody's
they all from the Detroit area?
no,
Well,
they're from the
kinda,
Midwest,
Kinda.
South area.
Maybe
But yeah,
Toledo,
so
just across the river.
So anyhow,
That's not
Twisted is gone from Psychopathic Records. But unless you've been living under a rock, there's been some semi-crazy shit going on. Besides
Ah,
balloons,
just a little.
within like what 72 hours, we had 4 train derailments,
We had about 4 train derailments. We've had
and a
4
lot of
objects shot down in 7 days. 3 being benign. They think.
the head of the Environmental Protection Agency promised Thursday that the Biden administration would, quote, get to the bottom of the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio.
Did they blame Trump in the process?
No, they're going after
I think Buttigieg did.
the train company.
As one would do. But not the idiot who put a bunch of quarters on the fucking track.
This is a huge environmental fuck up because this
Mhm.
train was hauling many
Lots of bad shit stacked on top
tanks.
of each other.
of shit that was stacked on top of each other. And rightfully so, the EPA said, well, this shit's under pressure and we're at a risk of a big problem here. And so in some way, shape, or form, these things got either ruptured or intentionally cracked open to negate the worst case scenario, and all this shit went up in the atmosphere. There's like pictures you can see. I saw a picture. I don't know the truth behind it. It looks like a plane's up in the sky, and all you see is clouds because Ohio gets cloudy, especially this time of year. And then you just see like the gray plume, and it looked
Like Morador.
it looked like a goddamn nuclear bomb went off there. But there's
them
already been
dead fish.
reports of like over 130 and 50 dead fish already found. They're finding wildlife that are all fucked up, foxes and shit, and it's horrible. It's a big environmental disaster. But what I haven't heard, and I'm surprised, because usually, you can't let a good tragedy go to waste. And the fact that there's 3 or 4 of them within like 24 hours. Where's the cries of our infrastructure's falling apart? I haven't heard that.
It's because there's a different guy in charge.
Oh, that's right. But I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, but when you hear there's like fucking 3, 4,
Isn't
24
Mayor
hours.
Pete in charge of the
Yeah, he's
DOT?
he's the head of the transportation. He's the one that suggests things to the guy that they're calling the best commutative president we've had in a long time. I don't know how that
You
works.
know, Captain Stutterbum?
Yeah.
But
Should you try to watch his coming out and talking about the balloon shoot sounds today?
they're the governor, the mayor, and the senator of Ohio are basically trying to raise some EPA money because they need to be able to get people back in their fucking homes. They all had to move out. They had like a mile radius evacuation. People are saying they're coming home out like 2 miles outside, and it just smells like chemicals. And it's horrible. So we will keep.
And then what's the effects of cancer, say 5 years, 10 years from now, right?
Mhm.
What is the long-term effect that we don't know?
So the man-made disaster of this scale, scope, and significance necessitates the response and deployment of resources that are commensurate with the scale and scope, Brown wrote. I am grateful for all the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, and the Ohio Emergency Management Agency, local firefighters, and local law enforcement for what they've done in response to this unprecedented disaster. But it's critical we act quickly to supplement our efforts. And it's just,
It's gross.
why don't I remember something similar in general area 15 years ago?
No, it's east of Cleveland. Cleveland did catch on fire. The lake did.
But it'd be
At some point in
interesting to
time.
see what, after the investigation, what comes down to the cause of all four of these. Was it equipment failure? If so, was it on the train's end or the track's end? Because was it infrastructure or poor maintenance? Because let me tell you, Gordon and I grew up from a street from a train track. And it was loud, but it wasn't unbearable. It was almost nichey, quaint. Every once in a while, a train would go rolling down the tracks.
You got used to it, like
Uh,
living on a road. Oh wait, there was a road too.
Yeah, like
A
the
loud
4-lane
one. A major-
thoroughfare. That's a fun word to say, thoroughfare. But a couple of
Route
years ago,
25, rural Route 25 when we were growing up.
a couple of years ago, I was on a World War II reenactment
No way.
at this historical village, and they set us up by the train track.
Somebody went back to his childhood.
Worse, kind of what I'm getting to. This was a very active train track, and our tents, yes, pump tents, made in 1943.
These are
was
the ones without the
about-
floor.
Yes, without the floor,
Okay.
buttoned together. Was about
Did
6.
you know I slept in those in Civil Air Patrol?
Yep, I've been sleeping on them for the last 8 years. 60 yards from the train track. At night, a very active train track. And the train would come rolling down the track and got louder. But it wasn't the track, and it wasn't the vibration. It was the lack of lubricant applied to the undercarriage of these trains. And it got so bad, because like one would come through an hour. And after the booze wore off, around 3 in the morning, you're laying in a fucking bed, sound asleep, and you hear what sounds like 30,000 banshees flying through your tent. It got to the point where I was having dreams where I was fantasizing about putting an industrial-sized quad-barrel WD-40 spray station installation 2 miles down the track. So as this train came barreling down the road, its undercarriage would get completely engulfed in WD-40, so that by the time it got to where my tent was, it was just a nice rumble. It got so bad, like the guys who stayed there Friday, no, they got there Thursday. They were going to sleep because they came from out of town. They got there Thursday. They had to sleep there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then leave Sunday. By Saturday night, they said, fuck it. They got in their car and went and slept. They like it because it was insane. It was like torture. I mean, the effect it had on you. By the time you woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you felt like you'd been water tortured all night. Because just imagine once an hour, all night long.
Yeah,
Being
but doesn't
awoken.
that add to the realism of stress of war?
Yes. Some people say, well, the trains, that's what they use for the major mode of transportation. You're right. And they maintained that shit and they lubricated it.
Yeah,
It
but
didn't
just,
sound like
not-
30,000
I'm not
banshees
even
scratching
saying
their
just-
fingernails down a chalkboard in your ear.
on.
I was
Hold on,
literally screaming in my...
I'm not just saying trains, but just the whole
Yeah, the
sleep
trauma.
deprivation
Yeah.
deal, right?
Absolutely. It got to the
These
point...
guys look haggard.
It got to the point I was sleeping with my earplugs in. Like, in the feeble position. Just like, go the fuck away. Go the fuck away. You know, you think mariachi music going until 4 a.m. is bad. Have 1,000...
Depending on who you are.
20,000 banshees screaming through your bedroom or your tent while you're laying on the floor once
Again,
an
depending
hour.
on who you are.
You'll pull your fucking hair out. But yeah, so
Don's been
hopefully we get down
traumatized
there
by
and
this
try to
event.
clean that disaster up.
Yep. No, that's
And that's the
insane.
question. They're
and they
worried
didn't
about
talk
the water
about
supply.
it much either, right?
Yeah, no one's talking about it.
I mean, they're starting to now, but when it was going on was also when the spy balloon kerfuffle was happening. Did you listen to that podcast I sent you today?
No, I had an extremely busy day. Actually, didn't get home to do the show until
Well,
like
what's
7:30.
Interesting is it's no longer on Spotify.
Huh? That's peculiar.
So it's the guy I named the Fat Electrician. Maybe y'all have seen him around on TikTok and YouTube. He does a lot of explanation. He's a former Air Force guy who does a lot of explanation of military aircraft and such. He was on there, and I thought Don would think this is interesting because he goes, I've got a conspiracy theory. I'm like, okay, let's hear it. He said World War II. A lot of people don't know this. The Japanese actually set foot on the United States.
Alaska was a big battle.
Mm-hmm.
You know who fought them?
And hold on. Let me finish
Go ahead.
before I lose my train of thought. Pardon the train pun. Said back then, and even now, anybody who knows anything about war, all these top guys say if you're going to invade the United States, you have to come up through Alaska, down through Canada, and also take the Panama Canal. So they back then, and I would like to look into this. The Japanese floated a balloon up and over the Aleutian Islands, down Canada into Portland. Also floated a balloon over Panama Canal. Flash forward to this year.
Hold on. Before you flash forward, when was this?
Back in World War II.
And that was the Japanese?
Yep.
What you're referring to is the Japanese balloon bombs. Fun fact, it was covered up until probably the 80s.
Well, the interesting thing,
the only civilian deaths on the continental United States during World War II was at the hands of a Japanese balloon bomb that crash landed in Blythe, Oregon, out in the woods. A young 25-year-old Sunday school teacher and her husband were on their way to take 5 students on a Sunday school picnic. There's some road traffic going on, and the husband pulled over to find out what the scuttlebutt was. See what it did there? And Elsie Mitchell and her 5 students went out for a walk. Enjoy the Sunday air. At what point, one of her students came across the Japanese bomb balloon that was perched in a field. And no one knows exactly what was said because no one who was there survived. But at a certain point, the balloon went off, killed all 5 students and Elsie Mitchell, who was pregnant with a child. So the only civilians to be killed on the continental United States during World War II was a Sunday school teacher and 5 students. But we covered it up, and rightfully so, because we didn't want the Japanese to find out that one of their balloons actually caused, because that's the only one. They found some on power lines and some that did not explode, but they didn't want the word to get out, and the Japanese would triple down on their production and send more of those damn things sailing over here.
And this conspiracy theory, just a theory, not mine,
Sure.
but it does make sense,
Yep.
is that the Chinese spy balloons, plural, remember there was one in Latin America, followed the same paths.
Yeah, it's a slipstream.
Meaning, basically, are they testing to see how, one, quickly we respond, and to, get some intel?
Well,
Now, they did talk about the U-2 plane that was over top, who evidently, I forget what they called this system, but it was able to basically block the transmission and intercept and that's why they believe that this, because you've heard reference to the YouTube photos of it, of this balloon, and that's why the military let it go across the country, was
they
to
basically
learn more
flew a
about it.
Faraday cage over top of it.
And then they allegedly, and I heard the story, and I haven't seen a whole lot of follow-up on it, is they did find a small amount of explosives on it.
Yeah, they said there's a payload on it. That's why they didn't want to shoot it down over the continental United States.
And this explosives was basically only enough to destroy itself.
Yeah.
And why did it not destroy itself? They believe because the U-2, the United States military was able to block the signal.
But, no, I mean...
So things escalate, though.
Yeah, it makes sense. And, by the way, what's even more perfect for that plan is that slipstream comes in over the West Coast. And as anybody who lives in the West Coast knows, you can burn the state of California down by one cigarette butt out the goddamn window. And so to have that type of incendiary device land in there, because that was the whole plan in Japan. They, in the World War II, it's not that they were worried about, let's burn down the states to kill people. No, it was let's burn down the states to suck up manpower, have them fighting fires and dealing with that shit, and that'd be less men they could send over here. Plus the damage caused by that, and anybody lost was just a little extra oomph in their powder. But, yep.
And then I was reading more about this article, and I sent you something about, I did not know this. I guess Chinese have allegedly opened up some illegal police stations in the United States.
Yeah, this has been going on for a while. They did it
This was actually in the AP.
Yeah, they
Weird.
started in New York. It was about 4 or 5 months ago. I've heard stories. I think I read the article when it first came out. But yes, they're doing it under the guise of the Chinese social credit score system. And they're opening up. They opened up like 4, I think, at the time in New York City. Well, there was one in New York City for sure, maybe 2, and I think they had 2 in LA at the time. And they were basically going to the local governments and saying, hey, we're just here to keep an eye on our citizens. We have the social credit score system over there. We just need to have them check in. Kind of think of it like a kind of a mini embassy, if you will. Okay, sure, go ahead. As long
Actually,
as
I
you
think
pay
that's
your
what they
rent,
did.
as long as you pay your rent, you're good to go. Yeah, there's like, what, 44 of them now? And they're just...
Throughout the world? Yeah.
No, in the United States, or is it throughout the world?
It's throughout the world.
Yeah. And the fact that they're buying up our farmland and all this, we gotta do something.
My question to you is, now China has blocked Lockheed. They have, because of this shooting, I shoot down today, they basically put sanctions on Lockheed and Raytheon not to sell, import or export stuff to China, which I thought was kind of
Oh
funny,
no,
but-
what will we do
Oh,
with all
what
these
will we do?
weapons?
But my thing is at what point, if this escalates, does the United States start pulling land that the Chinese have bought up in the United States from them?
It frees our assets. I mean, that's why Japan attacked us in World War II. We froze their assets and stopped the import-export of oil to them, and they needed oil to conduct business. You know, we used more oil and gas on the D-Day raid than the entire German army did, and like I think the entire country of Japan did in all of like 1943, 44,
That's
45.
insane.
The amount of fuel we used for 6,000 just ships alone.
Well, and maybe I've mentioned this before, but do you see a lot of parallels between what's going on now and what we've seen in past conflicts that have built up?
Yeah, you know, and when we were growing up, not to sound like old man again, but when's the last time you've heard someone say, and not say it in remembrance like I'm saying it now, but when's the last time you truly heard a serious statement of, if we don't learn from history, we're bound to repeat it? We've gone the opposite direction. We've gone from learn from history, shit, we're going to erase it. Take these statues down. Do this and that. What are you doing, goofy ass dog? He's over here like kicking the lamp.
And the other thing is, you know, I've talked to people like, oh, this stuff won't happen. And I'm like,
Hey.
let me ask you a question. In the history of the world, when was there
Part
an
one.
everlasting peace?
Never. I mean, even during the beginning, I'm sure Adam and Eve were going at it, you know, quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
There's no peace in that Middle East. I would assume that's Middle East, right? Because that's where the whole, you know, I just assume everything's based
You okay,
out
Mike? There's a different type of peace in that Middle East. That was that forbidden fruit.
there. Different type of snake in that bush, too. But real
That always devolves to that, but
that got me.
and when,
that's good, man.
and that's when we
Absolutely
lose
good.
it. Here's a little sad news before we get into Gordon's news.
Oh no.
Because we haven't
No
been-
more sad news.
It all sounds like sad news.
It's all sad news. Bruce Willis diagnosed with dementia after retiring due to asphyxia.
Are we surprised?
No, but it's sad, really. To see somebody with that talent level. I mean, not that anybody getting Alzheimer's isn't sad, but to see somebody at that talent level, and that's just one of those markers that, you know, it's our time. You know, we saw this happen with our grandparents' generation, and then our parents' generation. You hear our parents say, "Oh boy, Lucille Ball died. That's a shame. I remember watching her when I was a kid. Now we're getting there." But it's just, you know, it sucks to hear that he's only 67 too. The older I get, the
Yeah.
younger old gets.
You know who also passed away?
He hasn't passed away. He's just got Alzheimer's.
Oh, well, you know who did pass away, though? Sad news.
Who's that?
Isn't that one Raquel Welch?
Yeah.
I did not realize she was 80 years old.
Yep. Well, you got to remember, Andy Dufresne was digging out that jail cell behind that poster of her from Planet of the Apes. Wasn't that her?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
movie took place in the late 50s,
The lovely
60s.
Raquel.
Got to get busy living or get busy dying. Gordon, do I got something for you, fella? It's been a long
Oh,
time coming.
boy, we got a new stinger.
And now, from the What's in Your Head podcast news desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, here's Gordon Abernathy.
Please don't say it. Oh, good. No, how are you doing today when we clearly know
Gordon
how the fuck
Abernathy, how are
we're
you doing tonight?
doing? Not to beat a dead horse. Well, you know, I would feel bad about this next story, but I don't, because I believe when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. February the 11th, there was a catalytic converter theft incident
Again?
in California. Los Angeles Sheriff's Department said a woman was sleeping in her Ford 4x4 Excursion in a Target parking lot in Palmdale.
If you can't feel safe in a Target parking lot in Palmdale, where can you feel safe?
The upper class Walmart, right?
It's not like she was at a Walmart. She was at a Target, for God's sake. They got a Starbucks right inside.
What woke her up was the sound of somebody sawing off her catalytic converter.
Now,
The woman then, she decided to start her vehicle and put it in reverse.
good. Run
At
these
which
fuckers
point
over.
she felt a bump and immediately
Bump, bump.
stopped her vehicle.
That's the
Locked
sound of the
doors.
50s when they're hitting in your trunk.
Yeah. Well, she actually did have low-profile tires on this
Good.
lifted 4x4, which I think is the most retarded thing to do, but whatever.
Hey, the rims and tires are in the shop. No, sorry. What is it? Those are my winter rims.
It is L.A., so they're always their winter rims.
LA.
L.A. LASD, that would be the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, told Fox News Digital. This does come in from Fox. There was a smaller vehicle parked right next to hers, which contained 3 other suspects described as 2 Hispanic women and 1 Hispanic male, who were sitting inside this
That's
small
what we call
vehicle.
ride or die. Those are ride or die chicks. They ain't sitting at
Yeah.
home waiting for you to go out and do the dirty work. They're going out there with you. They're on
Well,
lookout.
I'm thinking the guy who got run over must be the other half of one of the ladies. They were sitting in this vehicle while the 4th, later identified as 42-year-old Alfredo Ramos, was beneath the car, allegedly attempting to steal the converter. Sawing sounds under the car. That's not yours.
And for those of you who
A
don't,
lifted truck.
for those of you who can't do the mechanical math, he wasn't down there with a hacksaw. He's down there with a battery-operated wireless die grinder. Those things aren't exactly quiet.
Or a sawzall.
That's even louder.
Yep. Authorities responded to the scene around 8 p.m. The three
What you
remaining
doing? Huh? What you doing down there? Nothing. I
fixing
got
it.
ran over.
Authorities responded to the scene around 8 p.m. Detained the 3 remaining suspects in the smaller vehicle, and transported Ramos to Antelope Valley Hospital, where he was later pronounced
Fucked
dead.
up.
Actually,
Not
he was pronounced
dead?
dead when he got there.
He
The
died.
investigators who spoke with the victim, who did not know the 4 suspects,
Why are you victim shaming?
the victim is the lady in the car.
No, sir. The
Uh,
victim is the gentleman who died because he lives in a society where we have unequal
Blah, blah,
boundaries,
blah.
and he
I
couldn't
am
afford
just
to
reading
buy
the story.
kids his food, so he was forced, sir. He was forced to get a $350 wireless die grinder and go underneath
Broke
the
is a
car
joke.
and steal a
Preach.
catalytic converter that he could sell for $48 in the black market.
Actually, it goes from
Preach.
$200 to $1,000.
Exactly.
But
It's like
They-
the people who
they-
ask
they-
for money when they have like $200 Doc Martens on. Yeah, let me break off a fucking 5 for you, Steve.
after speaking with this lady about her to get her account of the events, LASD planned to present the case as a justifiable homicide
Good.
to the district attorney's office and is suggesting official charges of conspiracy to commit grand theft auto against the 3 surviving suspects.
See, if that
No
was
charges.
Florida, if that
At
was
this time,
Florida, good.
right?
Well-
At this time, no charges has been filed against the victim. The DA's office will ultimately determine the charges, if any. Hopefully they're not super woke. Should be filed against the involved parties, all involved parties, according to the sheriff's office.
See,
Catalytic converter thefts, as we know, has been rising across the United States. The street value of
catalytic
converters
converters.
containing precious metals such as platinum and palladium ranges from about $200 to $1,000.
Yeah, they caught like a family in like Pahrump somewhere. They had like a warehouse of like 3,000 catalytic converters.
They're actually stealing Hyundais out here to go from point A to point B to rip them off. Apparently, Hyundais and Kias are very easy to steal of certain years.
This
Yeah.
happened at my work. All the
Monday?
box trucks and everything like that, they didn't have them locked up. They were just sitting by the building.
All willy-nilly.
Cut them right off.
Well, I'm going
Well,
going
see,
on to this catalytic converter thing. You know the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile?
Oh, yeah.
It's here in Las Vegas, and it was on a shitty side of town, and they were staying in a hotel, and they woke up to go to an event the next day, catalytic converter gone. Even
Now,
even
you
the
were-
Oscar Mayer
Is
Wienermobile
not
in Las
safe.
Vegas, Nevada, loses its catalytic converter. And insane, isn't it?
the biggest difference is you could tell between California and Florida is in this story. What was the potential charges for the other 3 who were involved that were found in the car?
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. So at worst case scenario, they're looking at whatever potential maximum sentence you can get for Grand Theft Auto in LA, which is I think 3.5 days. Here in Florida, if you are a participant in a crime that results in a death, whether it's through the victim or one of your cohorts, you at a minimum catch manslaughter charges.
That's good.
Guilt by association.
Play stupid games, win stupid
And
prizes.
the person who did the running over would be let go.
Yep.
And this is on the tail of me making a TikTok video after the Super Bowl where they showed a bunch of Eagles fans standing in the city and someone's got a camera up on a balcony. And the dude either has like a fucking field hockey stick or regular hockey stick or just a long pole. I don't know. And someone's kind of whispering in his ear, egging him on. Interestingly enough, it looks like that photo of the FBI agent who convinced the fucking Trump guy to go break down the door. Very, very similar. Somebody talking in his ear, and all of a sudden he starts smacking the back of this fucking car window with it. Clack! Trying to break the window. Clack! And some dude comes in from off camera and fucking decks the guy. It's the guy who owns the car. And everybody acts all indignant, like, what are you doing? Why are you hitting him? Look,
Fuck
I'm
around
sorry.
and find out.
If you come upon a group of assholes who decided because the team that which they didn't even play for lost a fucking football game or going to destroy your car, feel free to fucking punch them. It should be legalized. We need to stop this nonsense. And don't come at me with, he's got car insurance. Sure, Steve should have to pay an extra $300 a fucking month because he had to file a claim because a bunch of douchebags got upset that their team lost the football game. He wasn't doing nothing. He wasn't playing
By
for
the
the
way,
team. Why
car
should he have to
insurance-
pay the insurance deductible and have the fucking increased plan?
And not to just say that now his car, even though it's been fixed, is full of fucking
His
Bondo putty
Carfax
and
is
everything
fucked.
else. Yeah.
Preach.
Speaking of TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
TikTok de-influencers
Yeah, like a bunch of
want Gen Z to begin buying less and more.
do what now?
What do you mean by that, Gordon?
I want to find out. Ready? Ready to go on this journey together?
Let's go.
Coming out of the New York on the AP, as I blow my levels, at a time when consumers are inundated with so-called social media influencers peddling the latest products online, such as Manscaped, a slew of TikTokers users are leveraging their platforms to tell people what not to buy instead. The trend is called de-influencing, which is in stark contrast. Let's try that again, Gordon. Contrast to the prior ones like TikTok made me buy it. There is a hashtag in front of that. I just didn't feel like saying it until the end. When customers are showing off their products they purchased after seeing them on the social media app. These days, TikTokers are telling their followers which products aren't worth the money, Raycon, or urging them to resist indulging in trends. Some influencers are sounding off about blushes and mascaras, why do we go here, or other beauty skincare items that made big promises but just did not
Under-deliver.
deliver. Kind of like that grown Don bought.
Yeah.
And others are telling their followers to avoid hairstylers and water bottles TikTok itself helped popularize. All told, the clips with hashtag de-influencing have racked up more than 150 million views in just a few months. It's not clear how the trend originated, though one of the first TikTok videos that came from a former employee of Ulta and Sephora, which listed frequently returned products.
I was
to the beauty
kind of on the
stores.
vanguard of that.
Hoo-hoo.
After the
I invented
whole
it.
"Don't Be So White" scandal with Coca-Cola.
Don't call me white.
Don't call me white.
Name that band.
No effects, Fat Mike. I was wearing a Coca-Cola shirt as I apt to do.
Oh. What was the name of one of their albums? That's pretty offensive.
2 heaves of bean and a something
White
else.
trash, two
Two
heaves and a bean.
Someone made a comment about my Coca-Cola shirt. He said, "You need to burn that." I proceeded to explain to him that all my Coca-Cola apparel was purchased long before whoever's working in the company, which you don't like right now, who will probably be there 4 years. Why should I burn something I spent my hard-earned money on just because someone who's in a position of power said something stupid. A few months later, people started burning their pit vipers because they fell into the stupid pit viper fad. Everybody on YouTube and TikTok.
But why were they burning their pit vipers?
Because a 24-year-old Twitter admin that Pit Viper hired posted something on Twitter that some people took as anti-Christian. So, as you do when your deity
most people
is...
who were pit vipers were a little bit of the redneck or Florida boy persuasion.
Yeah, kind of like when Yeti came out against Firearm. Know your demographic.
So I got Lifetime.
People started burning their pit vipers. It's like, well, hey, stupid. This is why you don't follow internet trends. If you didn't go out and buy these ugly ass glasses, which by the way, they weren't cool in the fucking 80s when Macho Man Randy Savage wore them. If you wore those, you look like a douchebag then. You look like a douchebag now. I digress. So the fact that you're wearing them with your fucking modernized half-ass mullet, that's a bad look to begin with.
And it's not even a full mullet.
And so, you know, be yourself. Be down with what you like. And who cares what people say. And don't burn shit you spent your hard-earned money on. Just because somebody hurt your feelings who works there who won't be. Trust me, Coca-Cola's been around for a long time. I'm sure there's a lot worse people working there at some point in their history than the assholes who said be less white. Trust me on that one.
Especially back in the beginning days.
Yeah, back when this shit first started. I'm sure there's a lot of unsavory folk who had paychecks written with the endorsement of Coca-Cola Company on it. So, you know, don't get panties too thrown out of whack. Go ahead, Gordon.
Saying they may have had some ghost costumes hanging in their closet.
Probably. I can't see a damn
thing. It is from the South.
Yeah. I can't see a damn thing in this thing. Go ahead.
Last one. Did you know?
The Muffin Man?
No.
The Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man. Yes, I know the Muffin Man.
Close.
You know he was a serial killer?
Well, you're getting closer.
K-I-double-L-A.
Again, we did not talk about this. Did you know that Winnie the Pooh lost its trademark and is now public domain?
Uh-oh.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because Winnie the Pooh was not originally a Disney licensed product to begin with. It was a children's book out of, like, Europe or some shit.
Yes, it was. In which Winnie the Pooh now stars in an R-rated slasher movie.
Sweet.
Have you seen the commercials for this?
I think I've seen a YouTube clip for it.
New York City, the AP, getting ready to wreck our childhood. The 100-acre wood has seen some pretty unsettling things over the years. A honey jar shortage, rather blustery days, and the
Maplethorpe documentary.
Threat of a HEPA lump.
Do yourself a favor, Mike, and go Google Maplethorpe later tonight.
Do not do that, Mike.
Google what?
Maplethorpe. He was a black and white photographer from the mid-'90s. Do yourself a favor.
And it was a big issue in Cincinnati.
Do yourself a favor and go Google Maplethorpe photos. Enjoy.
But in the movie Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
These are the type of photos that a Trent Reznor and a Marilyn Manson would probably have on their coffee table. Go ahead, Gordon.
Kind of like 9-inch tails. See that one I sent you with the cat?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The new micro-budget R-rated horror film, Pooh, wades into far darker territories than anyone ever have imagined. That's stupid. After 95 years of saying things, 95 years of a hug is always the right size, Pooh, newly freed from copyright, is now violently terrorizing the remote house of young women. Oh, I gotta watch this. Countless cherished characters have passed into public domain before, but perhaps never so abruptly and savagely as Winnie the Pooh. Pooh, Piglet, Kangaroo, Owl, Eeyore, and Christopher Robin all became public domain on January the 1st of last year, when the copyright on A.A. Milne's 1926 book, Winnie the Pooh, with illustrations by E.H. Shepard, expired. Just last year, Pooh and Piglet can now be found on a murderous rampage in a nationwide movie in theaters. A head-spinning development that's happened faster than the bear could say, "Oh, bother."
Oh, bother.
So this will be interesting.
The person who
I
wrote
did
that
see
article, by the
the
way,
thing, huh?
the person who wrote that article, by the way, is pretending they've never seen the advertisements for the Family Guy or the Simpsons on the Pornhub website because
Right.
that was not part of worst.
So it'll be interesting. And speaking of watching interesting murderous stuff, the final season. First half has been watched by us.
We binge watched all 6 episodes in one night. Not that we were wanting to binge watch it and or watch all of it, but we didn't realize they only put out 6 episodes for now.
Yep.
What did
And
you
then I
think without
saw
spoiler alerts?
You mean like the trailer for the second half?
No, I didn't watch it yet. Why would I watch that?
Yeah.
What was your overall opinion of it without spoiler alerts?
It kept me entertained.
Are you not entertained?
British accents drive me a little batty after a while.
Yeah.
Interesting take, but definitely see the end coming.
Carrie was not too enthralled with the whole plot line.
Well, what else are they going to do? The same thing?
Well, that's what I told her. I said, it's kind of what they have to do. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same as the fucking first 3 seasons. Same as that
It's going to be like
plot line.
all 3 Iron Man movie. Or,
I don't know. I've only seen like one.
it's
I
always a
probably
good guy
have
and then a
seen
bad guy with a
less-
bomb, right?
I've probably seen less comic book movies than anybody you know. Not
Or
because
any
I
movie with good guys and bad guy with a bomb.
I don't know.
You know,
I used to be so into movies. I had so many VHS. That's all I'd
I
watch.
still appreciate
And I've
his...
just fallen out of, well, primarily theater watching. But I don't know. I just, not that they're bad. I don't, I gotta go see the new Super Duper movie. It's just, it's just another one.
I still appreciate on you his internal monologue.
Yeah.
Did you ever see? I guess there's a version of the original season or 2 of you without the internal monologue, so you just see him oddly silent,
No, I haven't seen
which
that.
actually looks real fucking creepy.
That must be the little director's cut.
But yeah, that was good. What else have we watched? Oh, Velma on HBO Max.
Nope.
Little adultish. Velma is actually her race is different. I would say it's either part Indian or Middle Eastern. They play up the lesbian theme. It's very adult. Kind of interesting. It's one of
Right
those,
on.
if there ain't nothing else to watch, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'm
And then
running
The
out
Last of
those.
Us, if you haven't watched it, please do.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet either.
Did you ever play the video game?
No, that
How about you,
came
Matt?
out. That came out after the zombie thing got fucked out.
I thought it came out like PS2, like years ago.
No, it was years ago, but this was already after Resident Evil.
I
This
think it
is-
was on Xbox 360.
What was the game, the big game that came out, the zombie game that came out? Everybody had Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead was out, and then you had the new Resident Evil 4 was out, and then there was zombie
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising, and then you had the Nazi zombies on Call of Duty. So by the time that game came out, I was like, yeah, we get it, zombies.
Yeah, so what's interesting, an article I read, they were not allowed to use the Z word on set. They're more monsters.
Put you in the right
I do
mindset.
think that even though it is fiction, I do think the theory behind it with the cordyceps, like the ones that take over the ants, seems a little more plausible than, some escaped virus. So that's kind of cool. These things definitely change and morph the longer they are in there. They're definitely probably way creepier looking than anything else. But
Even worse than
the
Black.
acting is fucking fantastic. And the special effects are fantastic. So I can't say enough. We have already in the, I think it's mid-season finale of that. So if you get a chance to get HBO Max free for a little bit after the whole season comes out, go for it.
I'm looking for a video that I saw tonight that I did not.
But the joke is Pedro Pascal in about 10 years, all his movies will be him guiding magical children from one place to the other because of the child in Mandalorian and this. So
Gotcha. I didn't know if I liked that video or not. I found a video earlier I saw today. I'll have to find it, see if I can find some. It's one of those kind of semi tinfoil hat. Here it is. Let me see if I can bring this up without being too loud. Here's a tinfoil hat video for you. I would love to find this news article. This guy's standing in front of his TV and in front of on the TV on YouTube. He has a news story from like January of 2022.
A small town to make a big impact.
Yeah, East Palestine's excited to make an important medical device available to all 4,700 residents. I told you about it in October, and Sunday there's a special meeting to share more or start signing up.
Yeah, they're talking about Palestine, Ohio.
So he's playing this news article talking about how Palestine, Ohio was chosen for this new medical bracelet device that was given out to all the citizens back in January. And now all of a sudden they have this crash going on. So now the tinfoil hat guy's like, oh, we got us one, boys. We got a big one here.
that's interesting.
Bad coincidence.
Ooh.
Mike's like, I don't believe it.
That's a rabbit hole to go down. There's lots of rabbit holes out there.
How did that commercial win the commercial of the year for the Super Bowl?
Which one?
The name
The
of
rabbit holes?
Yeah, the rabbit hole commercial.
I think the only reason I wanted it
That
because
won the commercial of the year.
Yeah, by the people who do it to get more attention on it.
I didn't know that it won, but I just because it's so tongue in cheek with everybody going down their rabbit holes on the web.
Well, I saw, only reason I knew is I saw an article on my timeline on my phone that said that Tubi's polarizing commercial. I'm like, oh, someone had the balls to do a polarizing commercial, and I go and watch this commercial. What's the fucking polarizing about? Rabbits throwing people down
Conspiracy
holes.
theorists that go down rabbit holes. Didn't you know that?
No, apparently the polarizing part is I guess on the live stream on the live football game they opened it with the football commentaries pre-recorded, and so the commercial begins with what you think is the football game coming back on, and then it cuts and goes static and then goes to that commercial, and that's what polarized people because they probably got pissed that they wiped their ass and got off the toilet real quick because they thought the game was coming back on. But don't most people pause it now? Or
So
fast forward through commercials?
Well, the whole thing with Super Bowl is to watch commercials, right? That's why they're so expensive. But to be quite honest, I think we bailed on the third quarter.
I didn't watch any of it.
I thought the commercials were kind of lame, including the.
Well, they got to be lame because they're not allowed to do anything anymore.
I mean, they're all real lighthearted, but it felt like there was a couple on there. It's like, how did that get fucking greenlit? They were just bad.
Bad as in, oh my god, I can't believe they did that, or bad as in, this is boring?
Bad as in, this is just fucking horrible. It's just not even, and it has nothing to do with political views or this, that. It was just horribly written.
Yeah.
A horrible idea, like a bad B flick that should never have made it as far.
Yeah.
Like reality TV, such as Big Brother. How does that get greenlit?
Hey, I watched every season of that goddamn show for the last 8 years. Shut up.
That's why I said that.
Oh, that's my guilty pleasure.
I'm very guilty.
I dumb plumb forgot what I was going to say about that. Anyhow.
That's all I have to say.
That's all I got to say about that,
that.
Jenny.
Brr.
It was going to be something profound, too. You guys are going to miss out on it.
Shit.
That's just profound in his own head.
If you have anything profound to say, you have any comments, criticisms, want to tell us to fuck off ever so nicely, send us an email to info@d-410.com and let us know what's in your head. See what they did there? That's fun.
Are you allowed to say the health update on a certain radio personality?
I don't know a health update. I know everything you guys know, which is that he's at the hospital. He's currently working on speech therapy. And that's all I know.
I heard different.
But I'm just...
I listened a little today.
I didn't hear the show today. I'm just going off of what
Don,
they
you
posted
missed
on
it.
Facebook.
I hate to say it, but you kind of missed the boat on that one.
No, I thought about it, and there's no way I can make that work. If you're thinking about
No,
what
I
I'm
mean,
thinking
if you
about.
were still there.
Yeah,
and the
I even thought about...
fortunes
Yeah. No,
you
I
can't
mean...
make that work.
No, it wouldn't.
Right now, it's the Stan and Junior show.
And Roger, which is weird because Roger's voice has a very similar modulation to Junior's, and sometimes when the two of them are talking, it's hard to distinguish. Oh, that's two different people talking. Very, very similar. I mean, I was listening to a little bit the other day, but I don't get off work till 4:30, and usually by that time of the day, I crack open the podcast, the music early in the morning because my day starts at 7:30. But after lunch, I'm just so damn busy that I don't have the ability to listen to it. So by the time
Yeah,
I get
me
off of
too.
work, they're in the middle of 4 o'clock fluffer, and then I tune in for the news. But yeah, that's all I know. Mike, if you know anything different, just text me off the air because I don't know what you want to say, and I don't want to say anything that shouldn't be said. If there is anything that should be said, unless you're going to repeat something they said on the air. I don't know.
I don't know. Stan said on it. It sounded. I think I was listening either today or yesterday or something. It sounded like Haney was actually home.
Good.
He said that somebody had called today, and he said, "Hey, we're hanging in by the skin of our teeth, but we ain't going anywhere."
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah.
you know, in Stan's way of saying that. So,
Yep. No, I had text Stan to see if he was taking visitors. I didn't want to show up unannounced and him, either just not wanting people there because he's fucking tired or, whatever. And so Stan said he would
I'm just glad he made it to a hospital.
Yep.
And that's all I'll say.
Damn, dog, you're stinking me out. She's over here fucking sleeping.
She Boston beanbagging you.
But that's just about going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. As we said before, if you want to email us, please do so at info@d-410.com. And while you're head over to d-410.com, click on that Patreon link or go to the whatsinyourhead.com. Click on that Patreon, sign up and subscribe. It's only $1 a month, goes a long way to help keep the ring lights on around here, if you know what I mean. And I'm down one.
Mine's busted.
No, mine was one of my two was taken into the bathroom for proper application of morning time mascara and facial stuff. Cause
Mine just don't work.
which ladies, I gotta ask you, ring lights have 3 different color settings. How do you know which one is the appropriate color setting to put on your face when you're putting on your makeup? Because if you match your
Think
makeup
it's
to
the
that
one that's-
light and then you go to work and you have a different color light and it's not natural, your skin's not gonna match. But that's another. You can email us if you have the answer for that. But I was wondering that the other day.
These are perplexing questions from Don.
But that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys so much. I'm just exhausted. I can't even get into the shit's going on
What are
in
you
this
doing?
house. But
What are you doing? Come here.
yeah, thanks guys, and we will talk to y'all next week.
Sorry.
This has been a Digital 410 production.